So Tuesdays, day 16, it's a 45 minutes class, plus 15 minutes after. If you have the time, you can ask some questions. I'm also maybe starting to be open to a little bit more yoga philosophy questions if you have them. I'm not saying I know the answers, but I can definitively look it up. And so today, for most of you, it's noontime, so it's not usually a morning class. So the body is already a little bit more shaked up. So let's start with our feet wider than the hips. So not super wide, but somewhere in between. Stable feet, just start to shake your legs. And I'm really just shaking my legs here. And then release. And now shake your arms. Shake your wrists, especially your fingers. So just when I say shake, it's really don't hold back. And then start to make little circles with your hips. We're gonna do, I was thinking about dancing this morning, but I have a few people that are not keen on dancing. I think they're coming for yoga. So coming back to center, keeping the legs, the feet where they are, opening the arms, and then starting to move from side to side, lifting the opposite heel. So really important to lift the opposite heel and then slowly let your arms just hang. And they're probably gonna hit your body. So that's maybe a little wake-up call. No, you don't have to hit yourself. You just have to let them touch where they touch. And then coming back to center. If you need a wall for a little bit of stability, go there. Otherwise, it's not about the balance here. It's just about warming up the body. So bend your knee, start to make circles with your ankle. And then the other side, point and flex. And then open and close the hip a few times so you can easily place your hand onto your hip. And then coming back. And then the other side. So if you need to wall, bend your knee, start to make little circles. And then the other side, point and flex, like whatever you need here. And then opening and closing. So it doesn't have to be extreme. We just want to warm up the body. Coming back onto your right leg or the other leg. And now making little circles. So keep your foot flexed though, just to protect the knee. And then the other side. And then coming back. And then maybe again holding onto the wall, just making circles. The other side. Woo. And if you fall, that's okay. And then coming back. Start to make circles with your shoulders. So big circles. Feel the shoulder blades moving. And then changing direction. And then bring the arms to the side. And now just imagining that the bone of your arm is moving in to your shoulder socket. So it's just that the shoulder blade shouldn't be moving too much. And then changing direction. And then coming back to center, keeping the arms long. Roll the shoulders back, bring the shoulder blades down, and now press the heels of the hands away. Your legs can be closer to each other. They're starting to become a little bit more active. Press the heels of your hands away. And now point the fingers down. And again, moving with the wrists. Might feel very different than what we did before for the wrist. And then release. Let's inhale, exhale, bring the chin to the chest and gently start to roll the head from shoulder to shoulder. So you don't want to go 360 yet. We're just moving a little bit in the neck. And then coming back to center, Inhale, lift the head. Exhale, gently bring the head back. Don't move your shoulders. So if this is not comfortable for you, don't do it. Or if you want to do it because it really feels good at the front of the throat, at the front of the neck, you can place your hands in the back and rest your head. We have to be careful, however, that we don't push our belly forward. Otherwise, you're not going to feel anything into your neck. That's why I like to keep my hands down. I'm just going to open up. You can, talking becomes a little bit more difficult. And then coming back. Let's bring the arms in the back. Interlace your fingers. Roll the shoulders back and see if you can bring the elbows together. And then lengthen out the arms. So maybe your arms are here, maybe they're a little bit higher. And again, we don't want to go banana. So we want to keep the hips and the heels aligned. The chest lifts up and the shoulders roll back. And then release. And then bring the arms in the front, turning the palms to the front. This time, bend your knees. So make sure you work with your bum muscles. So often we're just gonna sit and we don't have a lot of feeling nowhere. So activate your bum muscles so you're very stable, and then press your fingers forward. Inhale, exhale. Press forward, and now bring the chin to the chest and feel the opening in the upper back. And now press into your feet. Inhale, lift your arms up. Press your thumbs together if you can. Lengthen the arms. Press your feet down. So this time your shoulders are coming close to your ears. Lift up, lift up. And then from here, let's gently lean over to one side. So we're not moving forward, not yet. So inhale, lean over. Inhale, come up, and then lean over to the other side. Lengthening as you inhale, exhaling, going a little bit further. And then coming back. This time, turn towards the left and now move forward. So you're gonna pull with your arms forward so that you're opening your front shoulder. So for me, it's the right side. So pressing, pulling the arms forward, opening, maybe moving a little bit more to the side. There's muscles here that we don't stretch a lot. And then coming back up. And then this time turning towards the right and pulling with that front arm so that you're opening the shoulders. My legs are strong here. My core is pretty strong too, otherwise I would fall forward. And then coming back up and release. Whew. Shake it out, shake it out. Okay, so let's come to the front of the mat. And come into your mountain pose. So from your feet, lift the kneecaps, activate the quads, activate the bum, belly button up, chest up and back, shoulders back, shoulder blades down. Imagine there's like a circle here. And then bring your arms up. Take a deep breath in and lift your arms as high as you can. Keep your hips where they are, so really important. Exhale, gently go back. So if this is not comfortable with your arms back, you can always place them on your bum. So your fingers pointing down, your heel of the hand on the bony part. So we really want to open the chest here. So you can turn your palms to the front if you feel that's easier. You can also bring your arms in cactus and then go back. But watch out, don't push your hips forward. So keep those hips in line. Inhale, exhale. You can look to the front, look to the sky. Don't drop your head back. And then exhale, come back to center and release. Bring your hands to your hips. Take the right foot back. So the right foot is slightly, the back foot is slightly pointing out. The front foot is pointing to the front. And your hips should be as much parallel with the front of the mat. Lower your hands into the hip crease and put your fingers into your hip crease. Roll the shoulders back, bring the elbows back. So as if you were doing a cobra, this is the same position for your arms. So the chest will again open. Inhale, press your back foot into the floor. And then exhale, keep that back foot pressing into the floor, lengthen your right leg. So really strong leg. Inhale, and as you exhale, press the inside of your front foot into the floor. So you can lift your toes for a moment to just press that in. Watch out that your hips don't move. Keep your shoulders back, elbows back. And then from here, start to press your hips back as you move your upper body forward. So strong, strong legs here. See how far you can come. Don't bend your knees. We are stretching the back of our legs here. Reach the heart forward. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Really reaching that heart forward. And then slowly release your hands. Don't release into your legs, otherwise you're gonna fall. Slowly glide your hand down your front leg and see where it reaches. So still stretching those back muscles of your legs. Watch out that your front hip doesn't move too much forward. So press it back. You're gonna probably feel a bit more stretch. Keep on pressing the inside of your front foot down. Release your head, release your upper body, and your hands can rest on something. So if this is really too low, rest your hands on a chair. Inhale, exhale. And then from here, lift your back heel up, bend your front knee, walk your hands a little bit more forward. So I'm on my back toes, my front knee is slightly bent, and I'm gonna start to press into my front foot, lengthen my right leg. So my back leg is starting to lift very strong. I'm pressing my heel away, my toes slightly in, and I'm gonna start to lift the leg up and then fold forward. You can keep your front knee bent, so your standing leg can remain bent for a little bit more stability. Otherwise, lengthen it out and start to lift that back leg up a little bit more, but watch that your hips don't open up. So we're not opening to this side. And then slowly exhale, bring the right foot next to the left in the front. And then from here, keep your knees bent for a moment. And then as you start to lengthen your legs, also start to lengthen your upper body. So you might have to place your hands a little bit higher on your thighs, on your tibia. Don't put your hands on your knees, please. It's all cartilage. You don't want to put pressure there. And again, I'm pushing my hips back here. There's a lot of weight into my heels. My shoulders roll back. My core is very active to hold me. My neck is part of my spine. And then exhale, fold forward, bend your knees. Press into your feet, activate your bum muscles, and then come all the way up. And exhale. Again, bring the hands onto the hips. This time we take a step back with the other foot, so the left foot for me. Slightly pointing your left foot, your back foot out, your front foot points forward, your hips parallel with the front of the mat. Roll the shoulders back, elbows back, fingers in the hip crease. And start by really pressing your hips back, strong legs, lift the kneecaps if you can. It's a lot to think about, I know. So straight back. You might feel different feeling one side, the other side. That's okay, nobody's 100% symmetric. Inhale, exhale. So if you feel there's really a big difference, I would suggest you practice a little bit more on your tighter side. So in the future, starting with the tighter side, then go to the less tight side, and then going back to the tighter side. So it gets a double stretch. So keep on breathing here. And then very slowly release your arms, release your head, release your upper body. Wherever your hands are gonna land, that's perfect, but keep those legs straight. Otherwise, we're not doing anything with the back leg. So every exhale, we release a little bit more. If you feel that it's starting to hurt, then you come up a little bit. Strong legs. Press your back foot into the floor, the inside of your front foot. And then lift your back heel, walk your hands a little bit more forward, bend your front knee, and then start to very slowly lift your back leg with control. Your hands can come flat on the floor, on a chair, or on blocks. You can lengthen your supporting leg or not. Keep it slightly bent. It's a forward fold. So eventually our nose will be against our legs. Maybe another life. Who knows? 2 more breaths here. And then slowly coming back. Let's inhale again. Lengthen the legs, lengthen the upper body. Put your hands where you can keep your spine straight. Press your hips back. Strong core. Inhale and then exhale, fold forward. Bend your knees, press into your feet, activate your bum muscles and come all the way up. And exhale. And now stand in Tadasana. Take long exhales. And if you moved away from the front of your mat, move back to the front of the mat, come into your Tadasana. Let's inhale, reach the arms up. Exhale, bend your knees, bring your hands in front of your heart. Press your hips back. So I'm sitting in my chair, all the weight is in my heels, my toes are dancing. So there is some weight in the ball mount of my toes, but the most weight is in my heels. Lengthen your spine. And then exhale, fold forward. Bring the right leg back this time and the right knee on the floor. From here, inhale, come up, bring your hand onto your thigh. Exhale, let's go into the hip, So gravity is just gonna bring you down. And then I'm just gonna turn around so you can see. So I'm still on my right knee. Place your right hand on the floor or on a block, depending on if you need a little bit more height. And then reach your left arm forward and up. And as you come up, turn the palm out so you can really open the shoulder. Your front knee and your front foot are going to start to turn out. So you're opening the hip on top of opening the chest. So my inside of my left foot is opening up. My left knee is falling out. And I'm gonna see if I can reach my upper arm a little bit further. So stay in control of this movement. You should release, but you should not feel pain. So if you feel pain at any moment, please come out. And just bring your foot back on the floor fully if you feel pain, if this is too much. And then come back to center. Put the block away. If you were using a block, place both your hands down, tuck your back toes, lift your back knee and come into plank. So in our plank, press into your hands. Imagine that your upper part of your spine is lifting up. That's how hard you should be pushing. And then tailbone, for a moment, bring the tailbone towards your heel, press your heels away, your pubic bone is coming towards your belly button. And then bring the knees down, press into your hands, come all the way back. So not into child's pose, keep your hands where they are. Roll the shoulders out so that the eye of your elbows is rolling towards the sky. And then place your forearms on the floor and we're gonna roll forward into our cobra. So we're using the forearms as our support, rolling forward. Eventually the forearms are lifting and we're coming into our cobra. So it's a different approach of cobra, incorporating a half child's pose. Inhale, exhale, come down. Tuck your back toes and slowly come into your first downward dog. Inhale, exhale. And then slowly walk your feet towards the front. Inhale, lengthen your spine again. Exhale, start to bend your knees, bring the hands in front of your heart. So we're again into our chair pose. And now press into your feet, work with your legs and come all the way up. Lift your arms up and exhale. Mountain pose, Tadasana. Inhale, reach the arms up. Exhale, hands in front of your heart, bending the knees. Inhale, lengthening. Exhale, folding forward. This time, we're gonna bring the left leg back and the left knee on the floor. So again, if you need support for your hand when we're opening, take a block or take a book. For now, just sink into your hip. So let that left groin open up. And then place your left hand onto the floor. So the wrist is underneath the shoulder. I'm gonna reach my right arm forward, lifting the right arm up, turning the palm out. And then starting to open my right shoulder, right chest, and open my right hip, right knee. So let the knee drop out, let the inside of the right foot lift, press into your supporting arm. That's where almost all your stability comes from. See if you can open up a little bit more. Watch out for that knee that's on the floor. Inhale, exhale, opening up. And then slowly coming back to center. Put the block to the side, tuck your back toe, lift your back knee, and come into your plank. So find your plank, strong plank. Inhale, drop your knees, press into your hands, push your hips back. And then forearms on the floor, so your elbows are as wide as your shoulders. Start to move forward to the front of your mat, like you're almost crawling over the mat. You're starting to lift your forearms and coming into your cobra. Rolling the shoulders back, elbows back. There's quite a lot of strength in the arms. Your pubic bone is never gonna lift in cobra. So if you're flexible in your spine, it's possible that you can lift and lengthen your arms a lot. But don't force it here, okay? See if you can relax in the lower back. Sometimes we hold a lot in the lower back because we're afraid we're gonna hurt. So explore, what if I relax? What is that doing? And then exhale, release, tuck your toes, press into your hands, and come into downward dog. So walk your dog a little bit. Stay here for 5 breaths. So 5 inhales, 5 exhales. Long breath. Stay focused on that breathing. And then slowly make your way back to the front of the mat. Inhale, long spine again. Exhale, start to bend your knees, bringing the hands in front of the heart, and then press into your feet and come all the way up. And exhale. So I'm just going to turn my mat so you can see what happens with the next move. It's nothing that we've never done before, no worries. It's just, I think it's easier to show. So I'm standing at the front of my mat and I'm going into tree pose. So what's important in tree pose is to first find your mountain pose. So maybe if you need to close your eyes or find your mountain pose, take a couple of breaths. And then place your hands onto your hips and bring the weight onto your right leg. So once you feel that weight onto the right leg, observe if you're already sinking into the hips. So make sure you press into that right leg. And now lift the heel, open the hip, open the knee, and choose the height that works for you. So below the knee, above the knee, toes on the floor, and heel against the leg. So if you're going above, if you want to go even further, you can come in half lotus, where your side of your foot is into the groin area. And from there, it's a bigger hip opener. So wherever you are, focus on a point that doesn't move. Make sure there is also that mountain pose continuing into your upper body. And then you can bring your hands to your chest in prayer and eventually reaching up, maybe opening the branches. Maybe you want to be a cactus today. And then slowly bring the hands back down. Hands onto your hips. Now move the knee forward so your foot is not against your leg anymore. And press your left foot back for warrior two. So adjust your feet so that your heels are in one line. Your toes at the front still point forward. Your back toes, very, very little pointing to the side. Not outside, but more inside. Your hips are parallel with the side of your mat. And then start to bend your front knee. Don't let your knee pass your heel or your ankle. So see where you are today. Can you go a little bit deeper? Is your back leg very strong? Push the outside of your back foot into the floor. Exhale. So lots of strength to hold you here, but we also have to find that balance with, can I let go a little bit more? If your muscles start to shake, come out a little bit. It's that there's too much tension in the muscles when they're shaking. And then you can reach your arms out, gazing at your right hand. Roll the shoulders back, elbows back, shoulders back, shoulder blades down, sorry. Exhale, maybe go a little bit deeper. And then bring your left hand into your right hand into your right hip crease. Start to press into your front foot, your right foot, and lengthen that right leg. And then continue pressing into the hip crease with your right hand so that your left hip is starting to lift and your right hip is kind of disappearing. So this is for the legs, this is your triangle pose. And then reach your left arm up. So fingertips really pointing up. Press your right hand onto your right thigh. So you want to find that length. So today we're not going to go full triangle. We're just gonna stay here and see if we can find that length. And now bring your left hand onto your left hip bone and see if you can roll that left hip a little bit more back. The right bum is rolling forward. So it's that opening of the hip, lengthening of the spine. And then you can bring your left arm up again. This is very difficult to teach just with words. So reaching up, lengthening. See if you can really find that length here. And then slowly coming back up, both arms to the side. Bend your front knee slightly so you can turn your toes towards the long side of the mat. So both feet are pointing towards the long side of the mat. Roll the shoulders back, elbows back. And then from the hip crease, start to go forward. So again, if your hamstrings are tight, you might want to get a chair here. If you don't want to lower your head all the way, get a chair as well. Otherwise, you can always take a block and place your hands on the block, many sides to the block. So we want to really press those hips back. Your back is actually curving just a little bit. So lengthening, pressing into the feet. And then bend the knees slightly and bring the feet together, bring the hands onto the hips and come all the way up. So different combination of balancing to warrior two. So coming back to the front of the mat, hands onto the hips. Take a breath in, breath out. Bring the weight onto the other leg, so the left leg for me. And really move and just hover your right foot so you can see if you're still in your mountain pose. So readjust if necessary. And then open your right knee, your right hip, and bring it to the same height as you did on the other side. So hands onto the hips until you're balanced and ready to reach your arms up, or in cactus. If you're a little bit wobbly, then stay with your hands on your hips. One side can be very different than the other. So it's very related to left brain, right brain. And then bring the hands in front of the heart. Maybe you're a tree, maybe you're a cactus. And then slowly bring the hands in front of your heart, onto your hips. Move your knee pointing forward, and then big step back for your warrior two on the other side. So take your time to get into the warrior two. So there's a lot of pushing in the outside of the back foot, the hips parallel with the long side of your mat. And then start to bend your front knee, adjust the distance between your feet if necessary. Front thigh rolls out. So if the hips are tight, you might feel that your front knee rolls in. So place your hand on your thigh and roll it out. And then reach the arms out, gaze towards your left hand. Inhale, shoulders back. Strong legs, but also finding that softness. So as long as you're breathing calmly, you know you're in a soft spot, a good soft spot. And then placing the left hand in the left hip crease. Keep your right arm pointing back and start to press into your front foot. Lengthening the left leg, pushing your right hip up, your left hip kind of disappears with your hands into that hip crease. And then reach your right arm up. So your fingers are reaching up. You find opening in your chest just by doing this. And then you can bring your left hand a little bit lower on your thigh so you can press onto the thigh and maybe find a little bit more length into your upper body. See if you can open up the right chest a little bit more. Your left bum is kind of rolling under and forward. Your right thigh, if you want to put your right hand onto your right hip, roll it back so that we're opening the hip a little bit more, and then bring your right arm back up. And then slowly coming back into your warrior two. So bending the front knee, and this time toes are pointing forward again, but we're going to close our stand a little bit. And then coming with your feet as wide as your mat. Bring the arms to the front, rolling the shoulders back, and then starting to bend your knees. So we're going down. If your heels are lifting, that's okay. Don't worry about it. Eventually they're going to touch the floor. If you are like here because your knees are hurting, we're not going to stay here very long. So you just stay here. You don't do anything with your arms. You just try to open up. You can place your hands onto your thighs. So you're working more on strength. If you can go deeper, we're working on letting go, long spine, placing the palms together, elbows on the inside of your legs. Don't push the point of your elbow into your knee. That can be very painful. If you're not balanced at all, sit on something, sit on a block. You can do this on a chair as well, keeping the feet on the floor, not too far from each other, and then opening the hips. See if you can breathe calmly. And then slowly coming down. Bring the hands in the back, sitting down, lengthening the legs in the front. So as I said before, if you're falling back here, first of all, let's see if we can make some adjustments by pulling the wrapping away from our bum. So if now it's okay, that's fine. If you still need a little bit more height, so what we're trying to get to is the hip crease. So if you're like this, I cannot move in my hip crease. It's all blocked. If I go higher and then I can roll off, then I have suddenly access to that hip crease, which is where I want to bend. I don't want to bend from my lower back. So from here, lengthen your upper body. You can bring your hands to the side, come onto the fingertips, roll the shoulders back, not the shoulder blades together, shoulder blades down, and then see if you can maybe lift a little bit more. Your legs are very active. Let's take a breath in, see if you can stay here, then lengthen your arms up. Inhale, lengthen up. So lots of work here. Inhale, and now from the hip crease, start to move a little bit forward. We're not rounding the spine, we're really continuing to stretch out those arms. If you find it easier, you can always interlace the fingers and turn the palms up. For some people, that's easier to have that pulling up. Inhale, one more. And then exhale, wherever your hands are gonna come down, bring them on your legs, on your thighs, maybe on your toes, and then roll the shoulders back. Inhale, maybe you can go a little bit lower. Legs are straight. No pain in the lower back. So if you feel pain in the lower back, then you bend your knees a little bit. Inhale, maybe you can walk your hands a little bit more forward. If you have the strap, you can always place a strap around your feet, but we're not staying here very, very long. So roll the shoulders back. And now start to bend your knees. Bring your arms underneath your legs and start to round your spine. Drop your head. And then slowly coming back up. Separate your feet at least as wide as your mat. Bring your hands in the back, roll the shoulders back. have your spine straight. So we're not collapsing into our arms. So just make, your hands can be a little bit more to the back. You don't have to be 90 degrees with the floor with your upper body. And then slowly start to move your knees all the way to the right. So your left bum is gonna lift, but I'm gonna turn my shoulders, my left shoulder towards the left. So I wanna see if I can keep my chest pointing to the front of my mat, but my hip is actually going in a rotation, following my knee that's dropping to the side. So inhale, press into your hands, lengthen your upper body and see if you can rotate a little bit more towards the left with your shoulder and keeping the legs heavy. And then slowly coming back, lifting your knees, coming back to center, and then exhale to the other side. So first drop your knees down so your right knee is almost touching your left heel, and then roll the shoulders back, especially the right shoulder, which has probably followed. So roll the shoulders back, shoulder blade down, and then start to press into your hands so you can do that opposite twist. So really like we're getting the water out of a clot in the center of our spine at the height of our liver, pancreas. So that's what's all being rinsed out here. And then coming back to center. Let's bring the left leg forward so you don't have to lengthen it out. Grab your right ankle and then bring your right foot as close as possible to your bum. So it's underneath my left leg. If this is painful for your knee, you need first of all to sit higher. So you need to sit on something. So you have a bit more space into the groin area. So now you can lengthen your left leg. It doesn't have to be active. You can just keep it there. So I'm basically with my left thigh, I'm on my right foot. So this is a beginning of cow pose. So cow pose, lift your left leg up again. Bring your foot, your right foot, a little bit more to the front. So if you have knee problems, please don't go there. So stay in that first position where your foot is almost underneath your bum. The top of your foot is on the floor. So you're on the sole of the foot. So if you're okay, you can move. I'll just move my leg out. So almost making a right angle here. I have a problem with my right knee, so I cannot do this. Foot is 90 degrees. The knee is almost 90 degrees. And then you can place your leg back to the front. The next step is bending your left knee, grab your left foot, and then bring it over. So you'll see how high I am because my hips are really not moving in that direction on this side. So if your foot is still totally in the back, it might become a little bit easier. So this is a hard position, like unless you have super flexible hips, this is a really hard position, and it's a very good hip opener. I know when I teach kids, like primary school age, they love this. They can sit in this pose, like, and then especially if you tell them it's a cow pose, then they absolutely love it. So just see where you are in this pose. It shouldn't hurt, but you should feel a good stretch. Stay calm, don't hold. If you're starting to like hold because you think it's gonna hurt, release a little bit. Again, we're not trying to force anything here. We're just trying to open our body to new adventures. Let's stay here for 3 more breaths. And then slowly coming back, undo your legs. This time, right leg comes to the front, left leg bends, and then, or your left foot comes very close to your bum. and the sole up, or you make the 90-degree corner like this with your foot and with your knee, and then taking the right leg and bringing it over. So again, watch out with your knees here. Do what you can, otherwise just come into kneeling, just a cross-legged pose, which is also a good hip opener. There's many ways to come into cow pose. This is a very slow but controlled way where you can really explore every part of it. And you'll give me some feedback at the end about this pose because it's, yeah, it's different. So eventually your both shins are on, our lower legs are on top of each other. That's where we're aiming for. So 3 more breaths on this side. And then slowly release. Bring your legs to the front. If you're sitting on something, take it away. Separate your legs. You can place your hands in the back, fingers pointing back, and just release. So just moving the feet. I call this beach pose. So just moving the feet from side to side, letting the hips very loose. And then slowly come onto your back with your knees bent. So your knees are going to be as wide as your hips. And then walk your feet closer towards your bum. So don't separate your feet. They're still in line with your hips, but they're getting closer. Maybe you can touch your fingertips towards your heels. Bring your arms alongside your body, bend your elbows, point your fingers up, and then start to press into your feet and press into your elbows and lift your hips up to the ceiling. So this is step one. If you want to go a little bit further, lengthen out your arms on the floor, interlace your hands, and then start roll gently on your left side so that you can roll your right shoulder under. And then roll onto your right side, roll your left shoulder under. So now my chest is very open, my shoulder blades are very close to each other, and I'm gonna start to press into my upper arms and into my shoulders, into my feet, lifting a little bit higher. So my hands are pressing down, and then if you want to go one step further, come onto your tippy toes and walk your feet a little bit closer. And then press into your toes and lift up, and maybe place your heels back down. So lifting up, it's a preparation for a full bridge. Press your knee forwards to release a little bit in the bum. And then undo your hands. Slowly bring your back on the floor. Undo your shoulders. Lengthen your neck. So if you need to take your head, lengthen out the neck by pulling the skin of the skull away from you. And then lengthen out the left leg, the right leg. Open your arms. Open your arms in a T for a moment. Palms facing up. Roll the shoulders back and then find that comfortable place for your shoulder blades. So if you need blanket or socks, this is the moment. And then bring your arms into Shavasana arms. So halfway between the T and close to your body. So really finding that comfortable place for your shoulders where they can totally relax. Observing how your body is slowly letting go. See if you can, with your mind, just observe what happens in your body. Especially if your mind has a tendency to wander off. Focus on your body. Scan your body from toes all the way up. As if you're observing from above, but feeling from within. So as I say every time, you're home, so you can stay there as long as you need, as your body needs it, as your mind needs it. If you're ready to come out, move slowly. And depending on what time of day you practice, if you still have a good part of the day ahead of you, you might want to give your body that good stretch again to reconnect with the outside world. If you're practicing at night, just move slowly, don't go to extreme stretches, maybe stay a bit longer. So move at your own pace. If you're rolling to the side, see if you can roll to the right side. If that's not comfortable, go to the other side. The right side is because we don't put all the weight onto our heart. But if you have digestion problems, sometimes it's much better to be on the left side. So get to know your body. What feels good? What does your body need? And then slowly coming up into a comfortable seated position if you're ready for that. Bring the hands in front of the heart in the way that you prefer, gently tucking the chin. Namaste.